Okay.
So when I stepped into this job, so just so that you know, my SLT is 60% male, 40% female, and it's a blend of completely different skill sets, regardless of gender, completely different skill sets, completely different personalities, and it just works really, really well. But whenever I stepped into this job, I decided I would lead with vulnerability. I would lead with my authentic self, and I knew that I had to do that from day one. So on my first leadership team meeting, I said, we're going to go around the table. We spend an hour on a check-in at the start of every single one of our SLT meetings, because I want to understand what's going on in your world. And we give ourselves a score out of 10 or an emoji, use an emoji to describe how you're feeling personally, professionally. And I opened up talking about, I had just been diagnosed with menopause at the time. And I talked to them about the challenges that was creating for me, and therefore what they'd have to live with. And it was really uncomfortable for some of the men. They were, they didn't want to look me in the eye. And they started out with, talking about business and professional. And I knew that they weren't going to get to the real vulnerability stuff until a bit of practice. And eventually, we've been doing that for nearly 4 years. And we've got there now. We've shared so much. We've shared tears in that check-in. We've shared so much about our lives in those check-ins, because I think it's so important that I lead with vulnerability, and that helps them connect with me. And that creates an environment of psychological safety where they know that they can literally turn up as themselves, and they're valued for all of them in terms of everything they bring to the party.
Just carrying on that theme about you showing up with vulnerability as a leader, what stops people from doing that, do you think?
I think we are under the impression that if we show any chink in our armor or any slight, I may not be good at that, or I may be having an off day, that there will be someone will come in and try and cut you down or blame you for something. Yeah, exactly. And and that is about the culture that you operate within as a business. So that kind of shift doesn't happen overnight. You have to create that culture in lots of different ways.
Yeah.
And if you have a blame culture, and if you have a culture where people don't feel like they can fail and be forgiven and learn and move on, then that won't work. But you have to create that culture first of all.
Can it be hard though for that change to happen? And then if it does gradually go down that space, that then people maybe, I hate to say this because this sounds terrible, but then maybe they do throw the personal stuff into the reason why the job can't be done. I'm just thinking objectively. So I mean, that's a real random thing to say, but I'm just trying to think of what somebody watching might be considering, because sometimes over the years, people can make excuses for why their performance isn't in line with the expectations. And if they over-sharing, perhaps using this as a reason why they can't show up there, that's quite an interesting place to get to.
I mean, I think that has to also be balanced with clear accountability.
Well,
you have to be really clear on what your role is, what you're accountable for, and there has to be a structure to measure that.
Yeah.
So we're not going to, in a performance meeting conversation, have that level. You have to, segment it in a way that makes sense to the people that you're interacting with, that they're not confused.
Because I think it's a brilliant idea, because I think you carry a lot as a business owner, and you've probably felt the same. You certainly, Kirsty, in the last couple of years, making the shifts and the growth that you're doing, and certainly with where you are, you carry a lot, don't you? So to be able to share it with a team that you trust, that's like another level, isn't it?
It's a superpower. It genuinely is.
Yeah.
And you feel like everybody is with you on the journey, and you know people so much better as a result.
I'm going to bring myself back to the point that Kirsty answered quite nicely earlier about the leadership kind of CEO or C-suite level or kind of leadership roles and responsibilities more shifted towards the male, opposed to the female.